your girl Kizzy Roth, and yes, Kizzy Roth is my birth given name. Happy Tuesday, guys. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. Guys, currently driving, so I apologize for all this background noise. I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things today. I want to talk to you guys about it's time to take accountability for self. I want to talk to you guys about someone emailed me this morning and asked me what were my thoughts. I think she said on one of Pastor Blake's recording, it wasn't the one last night, but in one of his videos, he said that there's nothing wrong with a woman helping a man. She wanted my opinion on if a woman should help a man, and what's the third thing? Oh, I want to speak about, is she submitted to you or is she afraid of you? And then I'll try to also like piggyback off a couple of these different things. But all right, so first let's talk about taking accountability. All right, so I posted a post on the community page last night. Also, I'm going to speak about don't beg someone to stay with you. These are posts that I posted on the community page last night in regards to accountability and don't beg someone to stay with you. Okay, so accountability. And you'll actually see on that post, it didn't get a lot of volume because that's the whole point. A lot of people, they do not want to take accountability for different reasons. I think it's easier to blame the other person's. It's like, no, it's you. And granted, we're not excusing people for their actions because people are going to always be people at the end of the day. I mean, if I had it my way, I would be somewhere in the treehouse without people and just animals, if you will. People can be triggering, let me just tell you, right? But the point is, we can't escape people. You live with people, you work with people, you have to see people at the grocery store. Like, you cannot escape people. So people are going to trigger you. But why are people able to trigger you? There's something within you on why a person can trigger you. So again, it's not excusing the other person. It's about what's in you that you can't have self-control where a person is not triggering you. But again, it's easier to blame the other person. So in this season, what God has been really pressing upon me to share is that there's no more excuses. Like I said yesterday, it happened, but it's time to take accountability. What is accountability for you? That's different for everybody. That can look like therapy. That can look like stop allowing toxic people in your life. So let's work on you and accountability on what is it about you that's so broken that everybody around you is toxic people who are continuously triggering you. So we're not worried about them. What is it in you? So what do we need to heal in you, right? So that's one thing I wanted to share, because accountability is being really, really pressed seriously, to the point like, listen, you're going to take some accountability and you're going to work on your vices, or you just ain't going no higher, period. Next thing I want to talk about, begging people to stay with you. So what I stated in the community post was, I can't remember how I worded it, but I said something in reference to sometimes when people are done, they're just done. All caps, DONE. And I'm sure a lot of you can agree with this, especially, I'm not singling my guys out, but especially women. You know that person who you tried for years to just try to get them to understand what you needed, in, you know, the fact that you're trying to really work on some things because you know at some point it's going to catch up with them and you just no turning back. And then right when you start packing your bags, now they want to go to counseling. Now they want to go speak to the pastor. Now they want to do this. Now they want to take you out on date night. Now they want to buy you this and buy you that. But when you're done, you're done. And it's almost like there's no hard feelings there. Well, I'm sure sometimes it probably is. But it's like it's done. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say. I don't hate you, but it's just done. So on the community post, that one got a lot of volume, so obviously that's something that people are really dealing with now. And And I just want to share with you guys, sometimes it can happen in a lot of different reasons, okay? Sometimes that done really looks like God snatching the rug, meaning God have been clear to you over and over and giving you convictions for a very long time that person's season is up. He's trying to take you higher. He's trying to take you higher, and that person can't go. So this is why I always say obedience is so important, because if you're obedient and you can really start to follow the convictions and start making subtle changes, right? There's a grace that helps you to really pull away or walk away, even though it still will be hard. But when God snatches that rug because you are completely ignoring the convictions, or you just want to do what you want to do, sometimes that rug being snatched looks like a person rejecting you and leaving you. And now your emotions are all over the place, and your heart is so broken because you are not just dealing with the abandonment from the person, you're now dealing with the rejection. But when God is truly, truly trying to elevate you, trying to save you, in some cases, he will allow a person to literally reject you. Now, I got to be honest. I've never experienced that. Not in a relationship, I guess. But I've never, ever experienced that. And I don't know if maybe it's because I've just always been, for the most part, obedient to my convictions to just leave when things get really stink. But I heard from several people that literally feels like a death. When the relationship is over and the person is rejecting you, or they left you for someone else. So if that's where you are, you got to press into God, because that's a grieving process. So you have to grieve that relationship. But do not, first thing, don't ever place a person over God. Like, oh, I can't live without you. What? You can't live without who? Really? The only person you can't live with is without God. Again, nobody's denying the broken heart, the broken spirit, right? But sometimes that's another reason why God would remove people from you. When you start idolizing people, and sometimes we don't even think that that's what we're doing. Seriously. Right? We don't even think we're doing that, but it's so easy to start idolizing a person and you don't even realize it. So sometimes God will start to convict you, like, hey, hold up, wait a minute, you putting him in front of me or her in front of me, right? So sometimes God will also cause someone to leave and reject you for that. Sometimes God will have a person to leave or reject you because he needs you to hit a single season, and ultimately a healing season. And sometimes it's hard to heal around the same individuals who are constantly traumatizing you. So you're constantly cheating on me, you're constantly beating on me, you're constantly doing all this stuff. How in the world am I going to heal? And we're beefing and bickering 24 hours a day about whatever. How am I going to heal? Right? Healing requires a peaceful environment. So God may be requiring you to enter a healing season, right? Again, God may be protecting you. You don't know what that person can be doing out here and what God is saving you from in the next year or so, right? So the point is, we just got to trust God. But when a person has been clear about not wanting you, listen, let your heart break. Go ahead and go through your grieving process, because let me tell you, what's coming to you is going to blow your mind. What's coming to you, you're going to be like, I can't believe first of all, I can't even believe I gave you a chance. I had choices. And so you're going to look back at it like that. But I know you can't see it now, because right now it's just, it hurts. But once God really starts to elevate you and God starts to bring people into your life who are healthy and whole and who can really, really add value to your life, you're going to be like, I had to be a complete fool to even thought to give you a chance and to even beg you to stay. Do you know who I am? I'm a child of the Most High. Do you know what I carry? But also, a lot of times what happened, I was telling a young lady in the comment section, see, sometimes in those relationships like that, or even marriages, but whatever, I'm using them interchangeably. See, what happened is many times you lose yourself. The reason. Okay, think about it. Think about the level of confidence you had when that person first hollered at you, right? They came to you because you was the stuff, right? Your confidence, your self-esteem was on fleek. And so throughout that process of the relationship, if the person is a toxic person, they started to tear away at your confidence and self-esteem piece by piece, especially if it's a narcissist. Oh my goodness, right? They start to say little things to you, right? You can meet 1,000 dudes in the street who are giving you compliments, or women who are giving you compliments, but you're longing for the compliment for the one person, and they're really giving you little subtle side-eye shade and saying little things, and it's all literally set up to, give me 1 second, guys, sorry. Okay, I had to turn my other phone off. Literally giving you those little subtle shades to really diminish you piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. Those little comments, and they know what they're doing, right? Those little snarky comments, piece by piece. And before you know it, you lose yourself. Especially when you start changing for folks. Like, they fall in love with you one way, or pulled you in one way and mess around and caught some feelings. And now all of a sudden, they start changing you, and you're trying to do the right thing because and you mess around and lose yourself. It'll be hell to just pick up and leave a person when they have literally torn you down to the ground like that. The first thing I would suggest, because again, I experienced this one time, honey. It only took one time for me because God got your girl back quick. What did I tell you when you were a child? I don't care who it is. Don't you ever change yourself until you hear from me. I don't care who it is. Honey, I got back right quick. But it was so hard because you look at it in the mirror and you don't even know who you are. You're like, who am I? It happens so subtly that you don't even realize that you're being changed and you're being diminished and all this stuff, right? So, my advice is your obedience to God is going to have to be first priority. Your emotions is not going to be able to get you out of this thing because you're too broken. You don't have the strength on your own at this point. They've taken your strength. So whatever God is saying to you, if God is saying to you, pack up and leave, I don't care. If you got to leave with the shirt on your back, I will take care. And I'm not telling anybody to do this now, right? You got to take this thing to God. Please don't pack up with a shirt on your back and email me like I'm out here somewhere in the middle of, no. Take this thing to God. God will always give you your instructions. In fact, God has already given you your instructions. You keep ignoring it. But then I'll be the one, or somebody around you, or a family member or a friend will just really be your confirmation. But if God is saying pick up and leave, I don't care if the car is in his name. I don't care. If God is saying I need you to relocate because this is a small town of 500 people and there's no way in the world you're going to be able to get past all the memories of everywhere you turn, every stop sign. That was the first date, the next stop sign. He may just say leave because I'm going to heal you somewhere else. And then I'll send you back when you're strong enough. It just all depends. But God will tell you what to do. He may say, you can stay, but I need you to get individual counseling away from this nut. And it needs to be consistent. Because once I continue to heal you, within the process of even still being there, you'll get to the point where you don't even want them around because now you're whole on your own. And now you realize how toxic they are. So he will give you your instructions, but you got to be obedient to your instruction. And it's not going to be easy. Obedience over emotions is how I live. It's the only way I can really, because I'm telling you, I'm a very, very sensitive, very, very emotional being. I'm an empath, right? So, once you're obedient to your instructions, wherever God sends you, wherever God tells you to do, the enemy is going to challenge you. you're going to have more thoughts of going back than staying planted. But this is why, again, you're going to have to be obedient to what God tells you to do. Because if you know, like I know, you don't want to disrespect God or give him an okay and then turn. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So once God starts to really heal you in wherever he sends you or however he tells you to do it, he's going to really start to work on your self-esteem and your confidence again. Remember, that's internal, right? But he's going to start to build you up in his own way because he knows what has been stripped from you. This could just be from the relationship or the marriage alone, or it can be from childhood. Because when God starts to heal you, he's just not going to heal one part when you turn 30 and there's trauma when you were 5. Healing, because if he only heals you from the bad relationship or the bad marriage, you still have toxic ways from the unaddressed trauma that even when he brings the next person, you're going to still pull the same type of person because you're not healed and whole. You're just healed from the relationship. So there's a good chance that when you leave, you're going to be thrown into a single healing season. And he's going to work on you and work on you and work on you and work on you and work on you. And you ain't going back. In fact, you won't even have a desire to go back. Because in the healing season, he starts to expose you to things. He starts to show you things. He starts to show you where he's taking you and what's next. He starts to strategically align, heal, and whole people in your life. You'll just randomly run across a person, and it's like there's this magnetic pull because heal attracts toxic attracts toxic. So you will start to have a magnetic pull to heal individuals, and these individuals, they feel peaceful. They just feel their presence is peaceful. And this is why if you're not healed, you will literally self-sabotage when it comes down to healthy, whole things because it feels so foreign to you. So this is why it will be easy to run back to a toxic situation because you're toxic. That's what you long for. As crazy as it sounds, that's what you long for. But once you are healed and God have introduced you to peace, you will cut your own daddy off if he starts to sacrifice your peace. Seriously. Listen, Pops. I love you. I got you in any way you need, but please don't harass my nerves because I will block you. You can just call one of my other siblings and I'm going to ask them what you want first before I go. I almost told my daddy that the other day, right? I didn't, of course. Harassing my nerves. You know when them parents start to get older and it's like they feel like they need to hear from you 20 times per day or like you're the bad child. But, sir, I'm working. Stop harassing my nerves now. You need anything? Woo, child. Whoa, my goodness. What's the next thing I'm talking about? So yeah, guys, so just continue to let God heal you because let me tell you something, honey. The person that God has coming. Now, let's be clear. Don't leave a toxic relationship and think you're going to meet a man tomorrow. Please don't go with that mindset because you're going to be highly disappointed. God is going to pull you from the toxic relationship, throw you behind in the healing season. Right? In the healing season, truth be told, you don't even need to be worried about the next man, the next or woman. The person will find you, but that's not the intentions. Your intentions is to get yourself back, get that self-esteem and confidence back because, listen, sis, you are the truth. You don't chase, you attract. You are everything, point blank, period. You got choices in these streets, period. And my bros. But after that, whatever is for you will find you. In fact, it'll find you quicker because it's now God ordained. And anything that God has for you, it has to find you. But you got to be in a posture to be able to receive it. God ain't going to release it just because. It ain't going to happen. Next thing, is she afraid of you or is she submitted to you? Okay, so let me just tell you guys, right? I was conversing with someone about the same topic Because listen, I've seen it. I've seen it where the man or whoever can consider it to be submissive, but it's the person is really afraid of you. But you got to be careful with that. A couple of years ago, I was at a kind of like a girls' night out type thing, and one of the individuals who were there had just recently gotten married. Actually, she's married to someone in my family, and she, when we were discussing the topic of submission, and then one of the, no, I don't want to say that because I'll give it away right there. But when she was speaking about being submitted to her husband, she was also speaking about how, in her words, she was just like, y'all don't even know what I go through. You don't know what I go through to have to hold my tongue, right? And so I thought she was just speaking in regards to like maybe self-discipline, because it's hard to hold your tongue. Let's keep it real here, right? But I thought she was speaking about that. But the more she kept speaking, and then I was able to tap into her spirit, a few other things she stated, it's like, it's hell. But the way she was speaking about it is the typical way of things that happen a lot of times with women. It builds, it builds, it builds, it builds, and it builds. And one day you had a breaking point when you leave and you never ever look back, because you were too afraid to even speak up against something that you feel is wrong. You're really being tortured internally, is the way she made it sound. So with that being said, submission, and listen, please, because everybody have their own definition of that word and their own interpretation of that word. I'm not speaking about anything about somebody is over you and under your feet. I'm not speaking about any of that nonsense. But it is not about you suppressing what you really feel. That's poison. You need to speak up about something that you're not comfortable with. So, in my opinion, it's about how you say it and when you say it. So, versus barking, right? The minute he gets home from work or whatever the case may be. No, listen, let things settle, have a meeting of the minds, however you do it or whatever, and address it. Bring it up. There's no harm in that. That needs to be done, because again, as a whole woman, I know when we start suppressing things. Now, I've never been the one to suppress anything, but I've been the one who's been, well, I guess it would be the same. Well, really, it's the same now that I think about it, where it's like you get tired of hearing or being shut down, meaning when you are bringing, or when you're attempting to bring something up, you're always being shut down because you get hit back with that manipulative, oh, you're nagging, oh, such and such. So what do? You just start to, you know what, the hell with you, right? I'm gonna just, I'm gonna just shut my mouth. But let me just tell you, honey, the more you keep suppressing, that pressure keeps building. The more you keep suppressing, that pressure keeps building. And one day, because pressure busts pipes, one day, ain't no turning back. You don't even like the person anymore. So it's very important to know that you have to express what you feel. How do you do that is up to you. Some people believe in, like, I'm a writer in general. I write like how I speak. It's like the spirit just writes the word for me. So I love writing notes, right? So if it's writing notes, if it's meeting of the minds, so it's more about, again, what you say, how you say it, and when you say it, versus suppressing, because the world says you should be submissive and not speak up about anything that's hurting you and harming you, but you're more afraid that this person may leave you, or he may look at you side eye because you said you were the submissive wife when I met you. Okay, so If any of my brothers, if you think that putting fear, instilling fear in your woman in any way where she's threatened that you're going to leave her, even though y'all had this huge wedding or whatever, because she basically shuts up and doesn't say anything in any tone or any matter, be very careful with that. Be very careful with that, because she may not be submissive. She's just probably afraid of you. And a time will come. A time will come. Trust me when I tell you. Lastly, should a woman help a man? Okay. I did see that video as well. And let me just tell you. I gotta be honest. I have to be honest with you. And I'm not saying this like to be biased, honestly. I do not think I have ever seen one of Pastor Blake's recording of videos. I keep some recordings. I have the recordings where I didn't agree. And I promise you, I'm not being biased, because there are some other male YouTubers and individuals who I've seen things and I heard things and I'm like, right? I mean, he may be on point with a lot of things, but then there's a few things that I'm like, But with Pastor Blake's, and remember, I'm a person, God have just blessed me to be able to see things and receive things from different perspectives. So even though I'm a woman, I still can see both sides. I can understand a woman's complaint about something fully, and then I can do the same for the men, where most women, they can't really receive what the man is saying for different reasons. But I've just been blessed, honestly. But so I agree with that video 100%. But let's be clear, let's break something down. Because see, women sometimes, some women I should say, they take certain things and then they leave out the rest. Like, he said this, but you didn't go on how he really broke that thing down. He never said a woman should help a man who was trifling, who have no drive behind him, who have no. He's been clear. Those are the type of man you stay away from. You can't even do nothing with a trifling man. A man that has no drive, you can't do nothing with him. I don't care how fine he is. I don't care how banging the sex is. I don't care. You yourself can do nothing with a trifling man who has no drive on his own. Some of y'all stuck in that foolishness right now. Girl, I ain't got time for that nonsense. No, sir. No, ma'am, Pam. What did you do that at? Not up over here. Oh, you gotta have some drive, sir. You gotta have some drive, sir. Because if he got drive, he might don't even have to have all this money. But if he got drive, it's something about a woman, let me peel that back. Because some women are the opposite, right? It's something about some women that when she get behind a man who got some drive, we just got this supernatural way of seeing how things can take off from different angles that the man may not be able to see it. Like, there's a couple of people I know right now who God strategically used me to create something that they have already been doing or working on, but God gave me a vision to take, like, just take it and ping it off in different directions, and it was a hit. It's just something about a woman. God just gives us something, right? But did you just hear what I said? The men were already working on something. I believe if a woman can't help a man who is already trying, already have the drive, she don't deserve him. But I think with some women, they became so, what's the word when you really get turned off from something? They become so, I don't know. Because what happened was they got behind men who never had the drive. So they've been doing that all their lives. They've been picking men up from, well, they just pick men up somewhere from off the street, a straight bum. And try her best to invest in this man. She dressed him up. She threw him in a tub with a bleach of water. She scrubbed him, honey. She got him all cute for the cameras, all cute for Instagram, all cute for the family dinner. And he's a whole bum. And you spent your life doing that because you're unhealed. Because you're unhealed, you're trying to literally, again, change people. Because a lot of times when you're unhealed, you try to change people because it's hard to change yourself. So you try to like deflect that energy. So it's like, I'll change you to fit my toxic self. We gotta do better. How you gonna change somebody to fit your toxic self, right? Lord have mercy. Woo! And so she got very discouraged, and it's completely turned off, because the last 5 men she had, they were all bums, and she took her own money. She worked 3 and 4 jobs. Honey, ooh, no ma'am. She worked 3 and 4 jobs just to take his trifling behind. He ain't got no job. He laying up on your couch eating your kids' Fruit Loops high as a kite. You catching 3 and 4 buses to get to work. His feet stink. Lord forgive me. And now you take getting behind a man's vision and compare it with the trifling man who never had any drive that you took care of off of the streets. You're comparing the two. Completely different factors, sis. Completely different factor. In fact, if you really do your research, any great man that you know of, they'll tell you. Steve Harvey is one that's coming to my mind. I mean, he says it all. Say what y'all want to say about Miss Marjorie Harvey. I mean, say what you want. People are going to speak about whatever, right? But he'll tell you in a heartbeat, and he do it all the time. If it wasn't for her, he would not be the man he is today. Listen, a woman just got some kind of power, honey. If she get behind a man, honey, she can really. So I don't have a problem helping a man. I have a problem taking care of a man. That ain't gonna happen, period. Unless he's a man who's always taking care of himself and he hit a bad season. He hit a bad season. He hit a bad season. And even then, he's still striving every day to, try to get back, right? I'm going to hold you down until you get back, because this ain't your normal. You're in a bad season, and I know you do the same for me, right? Because seasons rotate. Seasons rotate. So absolutely I will help a man. If I'm called, first of all, if I'm called to the man, and if he's my man, absolutely. Absolutely. So I just want to share that. So again, please don't confuse the two. A man who has no drive, he has absolutely nothing to show for himself. He ain't trying. He just straight trifling, right? And you just trying to help this man to make him become a man, and you're trying to because God showed you this vision that he can be a pilot, and here you are working 4 jobs to try to get him this pilot license. No, he needs to already be in his vision, in his lane. He needs to already be doing something, and you're just getting behind it to kind of put some oomph on that thing. And then you just can't do that with any man. That needs to be your husband, or a partnership that God has his stamp of approval on, right? Just not any man, because you mess around and get behind the wrong man just because you want a man, even if he got a drive going on, but this it really ain't your man. You gonna get behind him, get that thing taken off, and guess what's gonna happen? He gonna leave you, and the next chick is gonna benefit from it. So it ain't every man, sis. This is why you gotta move in spirit. You gotta hear from God. But a lot of times as a woman, what do? We jump ahead of things because it's us. It's what we want. It's what we think. Many times we don't really ask God, right? We just like what we like, and we suffer the consequences later. And this is for men too. We suffer the consequences later because we don't want to wait on God, because we think if we ask God, God's going to say, no, this ain't the one. And we ain't got time. He's the one because I say he's the one. Okay. So you guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.